about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go, we are gonna do.
Hey, everybody.
You're so happy.
I'm so excited about this show. So
you got to move this.
I have to move.
Yes.
Y'all, if you all this, welcome to I put Soul Purpose Show. Lord, I'm at Soul Purpose Lounge. Y'all know who we are. I'm not changing it. So welcome to the Soul Purpose Lounge. I am Monica, and this is.
And I am Keith, and I promise you that our show we won't sound like this for the next hour because we have a very, very exciting.
We do. So if you all have watched the last couple of weeks, October we dedicated to HBCUs, and we have been doing this homecoming challenge, HC 2020 challenge, and we've invited alumni from various different
subpar HBCUs.
From HBCUs on our show. And if you missed our first show, we shouted out our alma mater, Florida A&M, because today is homecoming. It's the actual homecoming day. And so this week, I said, I'm going to reach out. We've had everybody else on this show. And we do have some shows next week. I'm super excited about those. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you I am thrilled about this episode of the Soul Purpose Lounge, so one of the wonderful parts about being the producer and director and everything about this show and gathering the guests is that you can pick who you want to pick. And so this today we are blessed to have my best friends in the whole wide world. We got the divas and the crew. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I am excited. Can you tell? Okay,
no. Let me just calm you down. Did you get something to drink?
I do. I have homecoming requires a red Solo cup. So I have a red Solo cup. So hey, everybody. Hey.
So let me see if I can help to kind of give some context for our listeners who may not know what a diva or a crew or any of those things are. what's happening today. Because it's not as random as it appears.
It's not random at all.
Like we just reached out and just called some of our friends and say, "Hey, come on to the thing. What's up, Matthew? What's going on, Pratt?" So one of the key concepts that we live by on this show is that we talk about different issues from politics to pop culture, but we also talk about family and we talk about relationships. And so we thought that it would be only appropriate during this month where we're celebrating homecoming, when we come back to the campus and we just, kind of rekindle relationships, we thought it would be appropriate to say, look, the ultimate representation and demonstration of the value of HBCU education is the relationships that you develop, right? Mm-hmm. And so the individuals who are on our show, which we're getting ready to, thank you, Christopher, we appreciate you, brother, who we're getting ready to bring. These individuals are folks that Monica went to school with, or they are the husbands or the spouses.
No, these are all people I went to school with, baby.
Okay, we don't have any spouses.
No spouse. You're the only spouse, boo.
All right, well, that's okay.
You're the only spouse.
This is Monica's crew from FAM, and I'm not going to steal any of their thunder, but I certainly would love for each of you to introduce yourselves one by one, going around the horn, and then we'll talk about kind of the how you guys all kind of be. So I'll start with Brooks, not because he's my fraternity brother and he's really the most important of the crew, but the first one that appears on our screen. Brooks, what's going on, brother?
What's up, my man? So Brooks Wallace, hailing from the big city of Thibodaux, Louisiana. About that big, but so what do you want to know? How I came about? So that's good.
That's good because we're gonna dig deeper. We're gonna dig deeper as we go.
Ray, I love you.
I love you guys too. Ray Livingston from the illustrious School of Business and Industry, hailing from the epicenter, one of the epicenters of Black Lives Matter, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
All right. Looks like Keisha is next up. Hey, Keisha.
She might be frozen.
Oh, Keisha's frozen. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to it. Bobby, you're not frozen.
I'm not frozen. How's everyone doing? I'm Bobby Barnes, hailing from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, y'all.
What's up, Duval?
This is Keisha. What's up, Duval? Oh, I think Keisha back. Hey, Sandra. So Sanja's on too virtually. So Sanja is one of a part of the crew.
From tuning in from the A.
From the ATL. Okay, Coop, and then we're gonna go back to Keisha. Coop.
All right, Christina Cooper, also known as Coop.
The Coop.
Proud graduate of SBI at Florida A&M, originally from Daytona Beach, Florida, but now I reside in the Maryland, DC area.
Yes. And Keisha, can you hear us?
I think she's unfrozen now.
Are you unfrozen, Keisha?
She still look frozen.
Okay, so
I can hear it. I can hear and see you, but I don't. Can you hear and see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
we can hear and see you.
Yeah.
So Keisha, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay. So we're doing the introductions, just who you are and where you hail from.
Oh, yeah.
You have your podcast button.
So Keisha Williams Reeves is from the
Don't make
Mobile.
me fight you, Bobby.
So I can't really. So Keisha Williams Reeves is she's also SBI. You'll notice a theme here. We're all
Sure.
SBI graduates, and she hails from Mobile, Alabama.
I can hear y'all, but I can't tell if you can.
We can hear you. I promise you can hear you.
We can hear
And
you.
so we
Yeah,
have two people. We have two other folks, two other of our crew. Sanja Roberts, we said it earlier, hails from the ATL, and she is a part of our crew. She couldn't join us, but she's here virtually. And then Charla Robinson. Hey, Killa. Charla Robinson. Charlotte kind of hails from two different places. She kind of like ATL in Jacksonville, but I kind of think she can't really claims Atlanta. But Charlotte is a part of our crew.
She need to get her life.
And then Marvis was with us earlier, and Marvis is ATL too. So Marvis Simpson. So I am. Marvis is here too. So Marvis
Forget about Trav.
and Travis hails from Deltona. So we have a huge crew. So
Yes.
these are the folks that could join us. So we have Marvis, Sanja, and Charlotte who are watching us virtually.
Well, I think it's probably a good lead in because you did mention SBI, School of Business and Industry. Why don't we have who wants to talk about kind of how kind of the group developed? Like how did you guys all kind of come together?
You know, I don't.
Brooks.
Good question. I don't know. So I can tell you that me and Christina met. If I remember correctly, at least based on my recollection, I met Christina first. I don't remember how.
Through
But I met
Veronica. Through Veronica Nichols. And
Veronica.
I actually met Keisha first because
Okay.
we were in Professor Daniels, shout out to Bookie D, his PD class. And Keisha was just the very first person I connected with in SBI. And then Brooks says he remembers how the group kind of formed. And I think it was just a coming together at some point where we were.
No, it wasn't that random.
No,
It was
especially
a
on the girls' side.
party. So we had a house party. You all went get some food and you left Sanja and I alone. And Sanja and I started drinking a daiquiri. We made a picture of daiquiri. And by the time you guys came back, we were on picture number 2. And then Sanja and I were like, okay, let's all do this every weekend. And that's how it started.
That's how it started. Somebody to tell the truth. Somebody to tell the truth.
So apparently I had too many daiquiris because I don't remember that at all. So that's possible. I'll go with him.
Yep.
Okay. I met Sanja because Sanja actually backed into my car in the parking lot.
I don't think
That's how I met Sanja, and then found out Sanja and Keisha were going to be roommates, and then connected there. Ray, I just remember Ray was at my surprise party for my 21st birthday. And I was thinking, and no offense to the AKAs, I was like, who's the AKA in the satin jacket over there in the corner at my party?
Well, Ray was
that story. Tell that story because Christina, and you could see it on her face. Who is that girl? I blame that on Brooks, but
I'm not one to hide facial expressions in case y'all.
So Sandra disagrees with you, Brooke. She says y'all met before that, but she said
That's when it all got together, right? That's when it all started. That's when we all started kicking it all the time.
Okay, all right. But I think each of us probably individually knew each other just because of our connection in the business school. So like I know that me
And
Brooke,
services.
Ray, and Bobby were all in the same SBI. We were services SBI company, so the four of us were all together. And then Christina was she was more focused with Forum.
I was the mean girl over. I was the mean girl over 4.
Right, Keisha, what company were you with in SBI?
What up, Bobby?
man.
What was the last one that I was the CEO of was EMS, the media, the TV.
Oh, okay. TV taping?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can see it left an impression.
I'm gonna tell you what's bad about it is I was the CEO and Al was the guy. Al was running that joint, and I just sat back and got my A, man. I learned me and delegation of duty is a beautiful thing.
So
We had class together.
Yep.
So
yes.
Okay.
So for our listeners who are still tuned in, what happens at FAMU School of Business and Industry is all of the students are required. It's a job while you're there, so you're literally you are responsible for being assigned a literal company within the school, and so if you're assigned to that company, you have to work. So you have tasks. And those companies actually have officers. And so what Keisha was, thought I heard a beep.
Referencing.
No, we have a child out there by himself. We heard a beep. He better not have left. I'll be right back. This is the beauty. This is the beauty of the lounge. You can get up and go. I'll be back.
So just to be clear, so students actually hold offices in those companies. So if you're a CEO or you're a vice president of a particular company, then you actually have a role to play. One of them being the TV taping, which is when executives are flown in to visit the school. There is an interview. You interview them on camera, and an individual and the student actually run that process. So there is that. What was that, BP?
It is the fire alarm.
Oh, the fire alarm. Nice.
Yes, it needs a battery.
Oh, it needs a battery.
Be safe.
Okay.
Sorry.
We got the fire alarm going off, so everybody just calm down.
It's the whatever it is.
No, it's one of the things.
Yeah.
Okay, so no problem. All right, and so what we've established is so you guys were all in SBI.
Yes.
Thank you, Darren.
And then house parties, which pretty common. Which is
for us?
No, house parties
in
general were pretty common.
Yes, but house parties for us were common as well.
And so there was daiquiris made. And so I'm trying to get under. So what was the chemistry like? Like we already knew that Ray was looking fabulous with her
always
satin.
And she's doing today. I mean, that's great. That's what she does.
That's what she does.
It's great. Ray was on the camera today looking like lovely.
Right. So how did the chemistry? How did you guys know y'all liked each other? What was that? Was it just that?
We didn't always like each other.
It's just that much daiquiri drinking.
We didn't always like each other.
Brooks, be quiet.
Everybody always like me.
Like that, but everybody else was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think what it was, if I'm honest, I think what it was with there's kind of an energy. It's kind of a spiritual connection. This is kind of my take on it. Everybody else has a different opinion, but I believe in terms of friendships, there is really a spirit connection. And I think all of us have some similarities in terms of either kind of from a foundational level. We're all very family oriented. We're all very close with our families. And I think that we just are real people, you know what I'm saying? I think we're, obviously, we may or may not get into this later, but our relationships have ebbs and flows. But I think the initial attraction with all of us, there was just really a spiritual connection that I really couldn't explain. Yeah. But that's just my take.
I would also add, Monica, that I think and you kind of went into this, I think we had similar values, which when you're in school, you don't even know what a value is. So I think the chemistry the values were pulling through. The other thing I think is, if you think about partying together and drinking together, for some reason it was always safe.
Mm-hmm.
The same group of people repeatedly, and it'd be safe every single time.
Yeah.
Even if we got into it, or we could apologize, we could give each other feedback. It could be raw, and somehow we'd still hang out the next week. And so, and other people tried to come in, and we maybe tried to let them in, but over the past of time, it's the same people. And I think that safety is critical.
Yeah, I get that.
And even as we formed relationships and relationships started to come in, those people had to be vetted. So, I mean, chemistry had to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask about roles, right? And I'm gonna share an anecdote with our viewers about somebody's on. Yes,
Somebody's got to.
we're getting feedback. If you're not talking, go ahead and just kind of mute your mic so we don't get feedback. But I'm gonna share a little anecdote about how Bobby and I met a little bit later. But I want to ask you guys about roles, like how you figure out whose role was what kind of in the crew. Bobby, go ahead. What was your role in the crew?
Man, I still don't know what my role is.
Okay, I was gonna say Bobby came to be a part of the group, and I'm not sure how Bobby landed in the group.
Bobby.
No,
Bobby is the peacemaker. Bobby is the peacemaker.
Bobby sometimes is kind of the core, and I know for the divas, we refer to him as Super Bobby, because we know if we need something, Bobby will come in and make sure. Not that the rest of crew or the diva husbands won't, but Bobby is always very dependable, and sometimes kind of brings us back to the center. And
I agree with that.
I can see that.
I agree with that.
What was Keisha's role?
Man,
Because you're the police
Wait,
now.
can she hear us?
She can hear us. I was trying to do it on the stealth move, Bobby, but you done called me out. I'm trying to get her to. There she goes. You calling people out.
Just called me out, but go ahead.
So Keisha, now that you're the police, now we're gonna get into y'all's career aspirations. But so what was your role kind of in the crew? What role did you assume?
I actually have no real idea. I was just kind of the one to be like, when people would get heated, I guess I kind of felt like I was more of the, we ain't gonna worry about that. Let's just go get another drink.
You were the mother. You were the mother hen.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was detailed enough to be a mother hen, but I'll take it.
I mean, you wouldn't wake up in the morning or anything like that. You wouldn't get up early, but you would make sure everybody would go to bed.
Like I said, that whole mother thing at 8 o'clock.
From 12 to 10, you were the mother.
Okay.
12 noon.
I think for me personally, I think all of us are steady, but I think Keisha has been probably the steadiest, right? So I'll just kind of throw in one particular story. As I said, all friendships have ebbs and flows, right? And so because we've been friends so long, at least for the women, because our relationship is men and women, and so I think for the women, there was a shift in the life just happens, and we weren't as connected, and we weren't speaking regularly. Not a bad thing. Some of us weren't speaking, or Keisha's spirit felt something off. And Keisha was the one and said, yo, something is not right. Mm-hmm. Y'all need to come to where I am, and we're going to sit down and we're going to have a real conversation to try to mend whatever's going on. And I will share with y'all. I mean, I don't know if I've shared this. I probably have shared this with you all, but I'll share with just our listening audience. That's never happened in another friendship of mine, So, I mean, I have deep friendships, but in terms of just long-standing friendships, one person saying, nope, this ain't right. We've been friends too long. Y'all come, let's work this out. And we all came. There was no was not an excuse. We all came, we sat down, we had a conversation, and we addressed whatever the issues were, and we're open and honest and raw. And I don't necessarily think that would have happened if Keisha hadn't done that. So I don't, that's my opinion, but Keisha is a steady for me.
So
also, you don't want to disappoint her. So when she says enough is enough, that is that's really it. And,
We just got called out by Miss B.
Not really, Miss B. It was a little on and off. It was a little on and off. We were not. It was not like that.
it was water with a tap of wine.
Sorry, Ray. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, Keisha is the person that when she's had enough, it's been too much.
Yeah.
You don't want to disappoint her at all. And we've done that just on this notion of getting together. We've done that multiple times. And that's kind of one of the things that makes me know when you say, can you drop your things and be in another city? Because all of us live someplace completely different. Can you be in another city so we can straighten this out?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that means something to you. And we've done that more than, and it's not always something that's wrong within the group. Sometimes it's to support another person.
Yeah.
And we had to learn that along the way. There's some things we missed and we called that out, and we haven't missed things going forward. So I think that's really important also.
Yeah, I agree.
How's technology affected you guys' relationship? Because I know that when you graduated, there was no group me, right? There was no group text, probably even.
No, there's no group text.
Yeah. So how's technology affected you?
I think the first person to leave was Sanja. So Sanja she graduated and she had a job down south. So she was the first person to leave. We were like a family. So anytime somebody left, we were all like sad and heartbroken. Like, oh my God, they're leaving. So I think Sanja was the first person to leave.
Then you, I think. Then you, maybe.
Yeah, and then I left to go to law school. And I remember me and my daddy got into a huge fight because I wanted to go back to Tallahassee.
Oh, boy.
No, it was not a boy. I wanted to go back to Tallahassee to go to FSU's law school. And my daddy said, you want to go back up to you want to go back to Tallahassee to play with your friends. You in law school. You can go visit them. So I ended up going to Gainesville, but I was in Tallahassee every weekend. My first semester. My daddy thought I was gonna flunk out of law school, but I was there. In my line, I was there. It was like I never left. I was there every weekend, like all weekend. It wasn't no boy, it was them. It was them.
Okay. So at some point, you guys leave campus, and so how does the relationship kind of stay connected? Like how do you guys?
Charlotte's at conference call. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Essence. We went to Essence together.
Yeah.
Essence was a trip that we would try to do together.
Oh.
And then Ellen
Essence and Atlanta game. We go to Atlanta because we knew we always had somewhere to stay. Shout out to Marvis. But I think we found various ways, just depending on what's going on, to stay connected. But I also think we make our own effort at times to check in on each other. If somebody's on my mind, I will just send a text message and say, hey, how are you? Miss you, that type of thing. So I think we all find our own ways to stay connected with each other. But I think also the best thing is when we do come together, it's as though we're still living in Tallahassee and, going to 1102 to, have Sunday dinner. I mean, we did things like have Sunday dinner, as college students, and we ate good as college students where we brought our resources together and would have a full-on Sunday dinner. Shout out to Sandra for the fried chicken and the macaroni and cheese.
We were doing this.
Praise them.
Yeah, but I think early on there was always just a feeling of family. From once we bonded and stuck, it just always felt like family, always felt like home. And I think no matter where we are, whatever city we're in, we're with family, so everything's good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let me get you guys to talk a little bit about professionally, because one of the things that being at an HBCU does is it allows you to see that, hey, look, everybody's smart. Like everybody's trying to get their lesson. Everybody's trying to, get a good job or whatever. Do you feel like that was a healthy competition for you? Did y'all push each other professionally as well?
Absolutely. I don't think there was any tolerance in this group for being less than who you were. Everybody everybody here and people you can't see, like Chrissy, as sweet as she is, she's like, "What are you doing?" And so everybody pushes everybody to get to that next level. And even the healthy competition between the companies in SBI, we saw other people lead, we wanted to lead. So there's a lot of leaders in this group.
Yeah. And I didn't mention Chrissy. Sorry, Chrissy. Chrissy is a part. Chrissy and Travis are also part. I mentioned Travis. I didn't mention Chrissy. Chrissy and Travis are also part of this group. So sorry, Chrissy. I just mentioned the people that were up, but this is a big group. I'm sorry.
It is a big group, and that's really obviously part of what makes y'all so special is. And I know Chuck has made some comments. So we have a couple of diva husbands and or spouses that are connected as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that as also. But maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, go ahead, Brooks.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off, but you talked about SBI, about our profession. So the one thing I would say about SBI, no knock on any other school, we had to do 3 internships to graduate. Like we had to, or you couldn't graduate. So you're prepared, but when you go into these internships and you perform, and you're like, damn, I'm better than most of the people around me because of the school. I mean, you bring that back to your friends, you tell them about your experiences, and they want to do more and they want to do better. So this group, if we go around this group and you understand what everybody in this group has done, it's because of SBI and the foundation and the root and the lessons we learned at SBI.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I think that gives you guys an opportunity to just kind of tell the viewers a little bit about what you do or kind of what your chosen profession is, because we do want to highlight the fact that, look, HBCUs prepare you for life. We know that my lovely wife is a practicing attorney. What kind of career vocation did you choose? Did everybody just decide to go into business and accounting?
I did. So went to SBI for a reason. Yep. So back to the internships. The good thing about it is I did a internship with Bristol Myers Squibb, which is a pharmaceutical company, and I found that to be amazing. So currently I'm an area business leader for Novartis. So I stayed in that field. So those internships also allow you to see things you like. I did an internship with Cigna in marketing. I was in a cube all day, and I said, I cannot be in a cube all day. My next internship was in sales. I was out in the field. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do. So it's huge to get that experience. Internships let you know what you want to do, but they also let you know what you do not want to do.
Yeah.
All right. Who else? Who wants to talk about the career progression?
They may not want to share their company.
You don't have to share the company. we do have a diverse group of professionals, of Black professionals.
That is true.
And really the question is more, how do you feel like SBI or how do you feel like FAMU prepared you for your chosen profession?
So I can speak as to how it helped differentiate me. I think one, having this group, spending time with them through the education process, seeing how we study, and I know it's been highlighted how we partied. I think one thing that was left out was we got up and went to class the next day. Every day we're in class, we studied as a group, but seeing how hard they work, seeing other people that look like me, who thought like me, who sounded like me, who were as intelligent, and who had a like mind to be successful, one, that helped put me on a path. But like Brooks, once I got into the corporate world, I did see that I was different, not because I was a Black male, but because I was better than, and I felt like I was prepared, to step in and to lead right away. I didn't have, a lot of runway. There wasn't a lot of development needed from day one. I'd already been developed. I'd already been groomed, and I was ready to be, impactful in whatever role I was thrust into. So I think, had I gone to another school, had I not been part of SBI, I would not have had, that wealth of knowledge. I wouldn't have had that advantage, and I would not have been as prepared.
Ray, you want to say something?
I was going to say there's 2 pieces I'd like to talk about. One is So I'm a transfer from the University of Wisconsin. And I think it's important to tell this story for parents and for people aspiring to go to college. So I have full honor scholarship to the University of Wisconsin. I have been there a full 2 years. And my father said, these people don't know anything about placement, how you place people of color and in general, he had done some research about when you graduate, what are the placement statistics into Fortune 500 companies from the business school at the University of Wisconsin. And so while there were some average placement rates in general from the business school, he found it to be much less even for people of color. And he said, I want you to take your spring break and fly down to Tallahassee and meet with the dean of the School of Business and Industry. And I was like, you want me to take my spring break and do what? And he said he'd pay for it, which I expected him to do, but I wasn't going any other way. And my cousin was there. She was already in the engineering school. My father was an alumni of Florida A&M and a whole host of family members. So I knew the legacy of the school, but you have to realize I was on a full honor scholarship. So here's something that's fully paid for. And my parents are saying, this is not going to work for us with the long-term vision. And I flew down, I met with Dean Mobley. I brought my transcripts. I spent time visiting people while I was there, and I transferred. And I think I had 65 credits, 60 of them transferred. And the difference is I didn't need the Black Student Union at Florida A&M. There's a Black Student Union at the University of Wisconsin. There was a college student who had gotten into it with a professor, and there was a march. And I felt like I needed to be there because I could have been that one Black student having to have that debate with that same professor because that student thought that he was being singled out and treated differently in his accounting class due to his race. And so when you go to FAMU, you're not spending time, you don't have this occupancy being taken up on defending or excelling around who you are. You're surrounded by it, and you're not the only one. So people lift you as you climb. And so I think it's really important for people to hear. I would not trade this experience I had at University of Wisconsin because it made me really appreciate everything I gained at FAMU. And so I think that doesn't really answer your career question. I can come back to that so somebody can have a chance, but I just think it's important to tell that story.
I think that's a great story. Keisha, I'm not sure if you are able to unmute yourself and share how you wound up where you wound up. Obviously, you don't have to talk about what agency you work on.
We're gonna try one more time.
Like you chose the traditional route leaving School of Business.
Yeah, okay. Despite all this Teddy Riley situation I have going on, I'm really, really very much a professional. I actually came to FAMU on a scholarship, and I thought that I was going to be an accounting major. And so my first semester, I took managerial and immediately decided that clearly, nope, that was not going to and even despite me running away, we still had to have like 5 classes in accounting, so it didn't really matter. But that being said, the FAMU experience, and I believe that this is true at pretty much any HBCU, but I can only speak to mine. I remember in our professional development classes that we were required to take in SBI, my freshman year, that first semester, we had one of those classes, and one of the student teachers in the class made a statement that has stuck with me till this day. And he said, this is the last time you all will ever be around this many people that look like you, that are striving for the same goal.
Wow.
And that stayed with me. And it was the God's honest truth. And as Ray was saying, in speaking about no need for a Black student union, at FAMU, that was the time where everybody around me was excellent. Where I was okay with being smart because everybody around me was smart. I was okay with having goals and aspirations because everybody around me had goals and aspirations, and they looked like me. And I didn't have to be the only one. Oh, she's some kind of unicorn. No, I'm not. There are millions of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that there. And when we came from there with the confidence that they gave us as we matriculated through whatever our HBCU was one time for the city on the hill of Hyattsville. But I mean, that's what we gained. That's how we get where we are, so that when we get to whatever profession we're in. And it doesn't matter, honestly. I know my best friend is a chemical engineer, and now she's teaching. It doesn't matter what we do. When we step in the room, you can tell the difference. We are thermostats and not thermometers. We change the atmosphere. That's what we do.
I love
it. And fam, you gave us that.
I'm gonna write that down.
I believe that every HBCU graduate out there got that from their HBCU.
We need that church lady hat.
Yes.
First lady.
Professional discussion, but I just wanted to put that part in there.
That's the quote of the day.
Yeah. We change the atmosphere wherever we go. I do. Listen, that's a whole. Let me write that down. That's a whole sermon.
Yeah.
I agree with Keisha.
Go ahead, Cool.
I would agree with Keisha in that from day one, and I think Sandra also put it in the comment. We were told we were the cream of the crop, and if you didn't believe it, by the time you left, you were going to believe it. You were going to embody it. And there was no doubt that whether it was an internship or even now in corporate America, we know we excel at a higher level than everybody around us. And that's just how we were groomed. And I think part of it was Dean Mobley had a vision, and it was our job to embody that vision. And I think we all tried our best to do that, but I think it was also looking at the professors that poured into us to get us to that point. So when I look back to my time at FAM, I know the Christina Cooper that walked into SBI fall of '93 was very different than the Christina Cooper that graduated from SBI with her MBA. Yeah. And part of it was the confidence that was instilled in me where, even my mother has made the comment, the child I sent to school who I was concerned if she was going to speak up for herself and fight for herself and do what she needed to do was a completely different person that came out of that university. And for that, I'm forever grateful, but it's also the individuals that I surrounded myself with as well, where they have motivated me, but also in my weaker moments, supported me and uplifted me. So, for that, I'm truly grateful that in that atmosphere, I got to become who I am today. I mean, in essence, I view being at FAM, it was our Wakanda in a way. It truly was. It was beauty and greatness and excellence captured on the highest of 7 hills in Tallahassee.
Absolutely. And I think go ahead, Ray.
One thing to what Keisha and Coop said, I also think we learned how to fail better than anybody I know. So, life is not perfect, and all of us have failed. We failed as a group. We support each other as a group. But the failure that happens here and then the road to recovery or resilience, it's not the same, right? And that's that upbringing, it's the training, it's FAMU, but it's also this collective. And it's one of the things that I think makes this group special.
I think for two things, I think all of you all got your MBA from SBI, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think a part of what they're saying, to kind of piggyback off of what they were saying, I went to a PWI for law school, and I was one of 7 Black students in a class of 200. And so that was completely different for me because I was not the majority. And so I think SBI and just being at A&M positioned me and prepared me for all of this stuff. Because I've talked about the crap that Black students went through at University of Florida, and I'm open about that. But FAMU prepared me for that. So I was able to stable myself, steady myself, still do what I needed to do to be successful. There was nothing that I believed I could not do, apart because of my background, but also because of the people I surrounded myself with at A&M and the instruction and the love I got at A&M. And to piggyback off of what Ray said, we have all fallen. And Sandra just said, fall forward. And even if you fall forward or you fall, this group of people is the cushion. So if I fall, I'm not falling far, because I have these folks who are going to say, Monica, it's all right, because you got this, reminding me of who and whose I am and the stock that I'm made of, right? So I think this group as a collective, I may say Sandra went to PWI for her MBA. I think this group as a collective has been instrumental in my success. You can be your cheerleader, but it's also always helpful when the folks that know you are your cheerleaders too, and cheering and pushing you. And we have a group meet, and we're constantly encouraging each other, telling each other, you got this, screw the haters. You stay focused on what it is you know you have, and it forces you to dig a little deeper and find that spark to keep you moving to the next level. So I completely agree.
Well, let me challenge you guys a little bit, because I know that, and thank you, Ray, for kind of opening the door to failure, right? Because you graduate, you go and get a job, you're successful in your first job, you move on to another job, et cetera, et cetera. Here's what we know for sure. Life has brought you guys some failures, right? So life has brought you guys some challenges, not just professionally, but also personally. Now, I'm coming into this group from the outside as somebody who tries to figure out how to get into this relationship. But you've also had some relationships, and some of those relationships have been successful and not successful. So talk to me a little bit about what kind of conversations did you guys have, especially for those of you who've gone on and had relationships with people, with each other, about those relationships?
They're honest. So I mean, I'll share. This is me and Keith. This is a second marriage for both of us, and I remember having the conversation with my parents about the fact that I was getting divorced was hard. Having this conversation with this group was much harder. I think me and Ray I picked the phone and called Ray. I think at the time Ray was the only one of us that was married. No, Keisha was married. I picked the phone and I called Ray, and we were having a conversation. I was explaining and expressing where I was and the space that I was in. And then we automatically just all got together to have a conversation about what that looked like. Because these people were at my wedding. Christina and Sandra were in my wedding. And I believe that when people stand by you, that they're there to support you in your marriage. And it didn't work out. And so I felt that I failed. And, you don't want to disappoint your parents. You don't want to disappoint yourself. But this is my family. And I also didn't want to disappoint this group. But I will share with you that this group, my divas and Brooks and Bobby and Travis were there. They were like, we got you, you straight. But then when they met you, now I will share with the guys, Bobby and Brooks and Travis are like for real. So when you bring somebody new in, they sizing you up and they was like, who's this dude? What's your mode of operation? What you got going on? Chuck is like that too, because Chuck, we were married when you first met Chuck. You were married?
Ray, were Monica and I married when did
you get married, Ray? When did you get married? When did you get married?
You guys were married at my wedding.
We was newly married though.
But they were bonded at the wedding because they was about to beat up my.
There's that. So Ray, moved on to the whole next story. Someone trying to give them an opportunity.
What I was going to say was that Brooks, and I have a brother, but Brooks and Bobby, my brother knows because he's met them. Alan knows that he never had to worry about me on FAMU's campus because Brooks and Bobby, they was ready. They was ready to get in the car and ride out for whatever dude was not doing any of us appropriately. And so when I brought you in, Brooks and Bobby was like, well, who is this dude? Let me meet him. And then once they co-signed you, I was like, okay, we must be all right. They ain't co-sign everybody. There's some people I dated. They did not co-sign.
Right. Now that Monica has completely just skipped over her whole first husband experience, let's give you an opportunity.
She may not want to talk about anything.
To talk about how this group has added to your personal relationships situation.
Well, the first thing it does is just on relationships with other women. Whoa, they got a hell of a bar, man. It's like I can call these women any day, any time about anything. And I just think I feel bad for other people that I'm friends with because it's just like a bar, and I probably have 2 other people that can even fit in that category, and that's it, right? And that's because love is what you go through with people, and we've been through a lifetime, and you can't recreate the memories. Like, I'm one of the people who didn't drink, right? And when I left college, I still didn't drink. But there was one night at 11:02 where I was like, I would just go ahead and see what happens, right? And I went to sleep on the couch, right? But y'all laugh too hard about that. But
hey, my mom's watching.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was 2011. But my point is that just the relationships with other people, there's such a standard, and it's hard to accept. Even if you want to be friends with people, sometimes this community is such a gate for credibility, for integrity, for trust, for repair. So I'd say that in the space of relationships, this is my second marriage, and I would say the first person I was married to, the crew sized that person up, and they were clear, and they were clearer to me before me. And some of that speaks to being young. Some of that speaks to timing, but it also speaks to a group that didn't judge, beat me up, uplifted me, supported me, and moved forward. And right before this started, my husband came in here and he said, "Hi, y'all. I love y'all." And they said, "I love you too." And then he left, right? And so what I'm saying is we also seem to know when something's right for each other, but we have to let each other find our own way. So it's that challenge and support, realizing you can't make everybody else's mistakes, but you can give them the right encouragement and the right feedback along the way. So again, that bar is critical, and I think it's hard for anybody to come into this group. And we're older now, so now when people kind of reach the perimeter, they got a lot more to go through. I'm sorry.
That's true.
So Brooks so it's really a game, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You gotta get jump in, dog. You
don't get jumped in, though. You gotta drink your way in. But that was years ago.
Well,
we don't do that
I'm making it because I'm not a big drinker.
You put you in there.
We leave the party at the same time. Coop and I would look across the room and be like, "You ready? You ready?" Okay, we will leave at the same time unless somebody needs to ride, which meant I was riding with somebody.
All right, well, we got a request. Keisha, please tell you and Chuck's story. The American people want to know.
I almost said the particular part of this.
I think you need the outline version, like which part you want.
Yeah, which story you talking about, Sandra?
I'm not even sure I know y'all's story. How did you guys meet?
Well, long story short, we met at
all right then.
And that's real short.
That's that part of it. But honestly though, Chuck and I, as far as it goes with this group, it is fun. It is hilarious because let's be real about this. The first time, like Bobby and Trav met Chuck, it was a little weird. We were on our way to Brooks' wedding, and Chuck had a little attitude about himself because who are these dudes knocking on your door at 5 o'clock in the morning? So, but even then, even with that, by the time we got to Thibodeau, he clicked with Brooks off the top, and
we clicked that S.
And they got and learned, and he learned, of course, that how good Bobby is, how good Travis is, how cool the whole crew is, and it was he has officially basically tried to steal my friend since then. You know, he actually thinks like he was an original member of this group, right? So when the I'm sorry, and I'm not sure if this is where she wanted me to go with it, but I just had a flash when Ray was talking about
ATL game.
The Atlanta game.
Oh Lord, okay. So long story short, we went to Atlanta. I went and home with my girls. Chuck went with his boys, and everybody was hanging out and kicking it, and we met up at the game. And Chuck was sitting down on the curb, you know, with his head down and such. And I had stayed with Marvis. We had all been together, and I saw him, and his boy came up to me and said, "Hey, we good." Basically said, "We good over here," as in like, don't come over there. And we know me, so I don't care about that. I'm going. And when I walked over there, Chuck's head was down, and he looked down and said, "Those ain't your shoes." I had borrowed some tennis shoes from Marvis to wear because I don't know what happened. I must have left the shoes. So, but I had on Marvis's tennis shoes. And from that day to this day, that is how Marvis and Sandra said that he was my one. Simply because he knew enough about me. Yes, you are. But simply because he knew enough about me and paid enough attention to detail that they vetted that situation and could see what he was and what he could be to me and what he could be for me. And that's a big deal. You know, we all did that. We all did that in a way. Mine was a little more comical than most, but we all kind of did the same thing when we met the spouses. It was to me, I always felt like it was an instant thing. It was like, oh, this like Brooks and Trinette is like, oh yeah, that's my sister. You know, it's like Bobby and Felicia. Like, oh, like Felicia is a quiet sister, but she ain't slick. I see her. You know, that's how we are. And it's just for everybody to get something different out of it. For me, I have to have this type of relationship. Like families, like I come from a big family. Chuck comes from a big family. We are family people, and this is a family, and it's been a beautiful thing. And I don't know what else I was supposed to tell, but I'm gonna let that be.
That was great. And I know we have to close out that particular segment, because I did promise I was going to just kind of share with anybody who doesn't know the story, obviously, who wasn't there. But I really like the way you described it as a family. And I asked about like what was Bobby's role kind of, you know, early on in, you know, in y'all's relationship, which is now over 20 years old, because my own experience is when we were at Marvis's, and I don't know why we were there, but I was your husband, I was your newer husband. And so there was a group of people there, and we all just kind of drinking and vibing and just having, you know, kind of having a nice time. And I don't even think anybody knew Bobby was going to show up.
We never do.
Because you never really kind of do.
We never know. We never know.
So he knew we were there. And then all of a sudden, kind of at the last minute, I think the doorbell rang, right? And then somebody goes, and it was like, oh yes, look, everybody, you know, it's Bobby. So, and then Bobby walks in. Now, for those of you who don't know the whole story. So I'm a good sized guy. I'm probably 6'2", you know, maybe 220 or so. So Bobby and I are about the same size. You know, Bobby's another good sized guy. So Bobby walks in the door and the house gets quiet. And when I say that the people on this call got quiet, like how big that is, like the house got quiet. And I'm going, why did everybody get quiet? And so Bobby walks in. I'm assuming now usually when the house gets quiet, it's because the person who walks in is getting ready to command the stage because they like to hold court, right? And Bobby that's just not him. That's just not him. And I kid you not. So Bobby walks in, he walks over to me, and Monica's like, hey, Bobby, this is my husband.
Hey, Chuck.
What's up, Chuck? This is my husband Keith, whatever. You know, Bobby, he kind of didn't say a word. He kind of stuck his hand out, you know, kind of gave me a shake. And he just kind of looked at me. Now he and I had a whole conversation in about 12 seconds, looking at one another, not saying a word. Mm-hmm. And that brother looked at me and said, okay, you know. And guys, it probably wasn't 25 minutes after that. He may have got himself a little half a drink and got his ass back in the car and drove over back to the door. But when I tell you, and hopefully the brothers who are watching this can appreciate just how huge that is for how we have to protect our Black women. Mm-hmm. Like that's really what it told me, is that y'all crew, it wasn't just about good time. Like y'all literally took a look out for one another, because when everybody got quiet, I think everybody needed to know that I was going to get the stamp of approval from Bobby in order to be kind of affirmed. And so I assume that's kind of what, either y'all had a meeting or something.
No.
Whatever. Well, it was a really special moment of mine.
Well, I will share with you that when I first moved to Tampa, Bobby was here. Mm. And Bobby just immediately, I said I was moving to Tampa right before I took the bar. Bobby instantly was like, okay, I've been here. What you need? Let's go do this. And it's kind of, they are our brothers. And so there's this kind of, that doesn't surprise me. Obviously, I didn't see that exchange
y'all
at all.
Y'all didn't know what was going on.
But that doesn't surprise me. And I think that's what makes our relationship so beautiful, because even as the spouses, because Ray kind of mentioned at her wedding, Chuck, who else was there? Somebody was playing something that was not supposed to be played.
Don't you finna mess up the whole story.
You know, families was up there trying to take over.
The musician were given a script, like play these songs, and then everybody be fine. You get your check after it's over with and go home. He decided he was gonna go off script.
Yeah.
And he was gonna do kind of his own thing. And Ray was, dignified about it. But we knew she was upset. We knew things weren't right. And Chuck and I had literally just met each other. So I kind of didn't have a real vibe for him. I thought it was kind of cool. The way he thought it was kind of cool, whatever. But when that happened, the cat just kind of went somewhere else. And he jumped off the stage and was just like, kind of searching the crowd. Like, I'm doing what I want to do. Like, who's going to do something about it? And me and Chuck looked at each other like, bro, where you from? Do you make niggas beg for ass whoopings, or do you... Because we don't make a bed for ass. All they gotta do is just ask Brooks. All they gotta do is ask for ass. That's all they gotta do.
Look the wrong way.
Yeah. You can just ask for it, and we will provide that. We will provide that for you. And I can't remember which one of y'all it was that said, "Okay, guys, we see what's happening. It's okay. Ray's got it under control."
Please. Keisha knows her husband, and I know
Michael got it under control, because I was having a breakdown, and I looked at Sandra, and she was like, "Whatever."
Travis was there.
It was Travis. So I know my husband, and I know Keisha know her husband, and I know what he's capable of. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna end real well. Don't y'all embarrass my friend.
Right, especially don't nobody here know me either.
And Keith told me, Chuck or Keith said, that dude was trying to sell CDs out of his car of his music. I said, Lord help us.
Yeah.
What?
I did not know CDs, but anyway.
But yes.
So that we have this nucleus. Our friendship is we're family. It's not even a friendship anymore. These are my sisters and my brothers, and it is rock solid, tight, almost 30 years. And so when spouses come in, significant others come in, you gotta be.
It's a game.
It's call it what you want. You call it gang, sorority, fraternity, whatever you want to call it. You gotta be Trump tight before you come up in this space, because there's an authenticity about our relationship that is unmatched. Yeah. And so I think that speaks to the longevity of the relationship. So
everybody has the opportunity to give some closing thoughts on what FAMU has meant for you, what this group more specifically has meant for you, and what you'd like to leave with our thousands of, and I'm not saying that lightly, by the way, there are thousands of people who actually watch our show. So
there's only 8 today, but that's okay because the 8.
So this is 8 live. But after that, then they share it and pass it on to a lot of people. Cool. Why don't you start us out?
I mean, I would say FAMU was everything for me. You know, it was excellence, like I said, on the highest of 7 hills. And I think for this group, they encourage me, they challenge me, and they love me with all of my imperfections. And for that, I'm grateful that God saw fit to bring us all together. And I'll always be grateful for not only our collective relationship, but the relationships that we all have individually and how we support each other and encourage each other. And I feel bad for those that don't experience it because it's truly family.
Absolutely. Bobby?
Yeah, I would echo everything that Coop said. FAMU was everything to me. It was a place that I, found myself, found kindred spirits, and this group is everything to me. When anything in my life happens, whether it's good or bad, I want to share or discuss it with this group. You guys have been, my North Star. You guys have helped me professionally. You guys know about all of my relationship successes and fails. But without you guys, I can't imagine being, who and what I am today. So, and FAMU brought me to you guys. So, it's been everything. I can't imagine that had I gone to a PWI, I would have found kindred spirits. I can't imagine having people that I could have shared, almost 30 years of solid friendship despite the ups and downs. I think, when the downs came, I would have found it easy to separate from those individuals. I can't imagine separating from this group for any reason under any circumstance. So, that's what FAMU is meant to me.
Keisha?
Hey, okay, so I'll just say, God, I absolutely believe that God gave me FAMU because I wasn't even originally going there. So he gave me FAMU, and then FAMU gave me this group. So this group is a divine gift for me in all ways. I gotta throw this real quick thing in just so people can understand when I'm talking about this group. You want to talk about failures and successes and personal and professional and all of that. When I got married, but essentially, basically, the caterer stole my money. I mean, he came in that joke with like 3 Snicker bars and some bologna sandwiches or something. I didn't know. And the people on this call, they traveled from across the country to my wedding, realized that the food ran out, went to McDonald's and came back because rather than either sit there and look ugly or sit there and talk bad about their friend or miss anything, they would rather eat a McDouble and kick it with their girl who was happy than to do anything else. And that means a lot. I mean, people don't understand to have something to not go as planned, and your friends won't even let it bother you until later. They'll let you know the truth, but they're not going to let it ruin your day. And it's a big deal to have people around you that care enough about you like that. The other part of this is I'm actually Facebook friends with two people from FAMU, Professor Booker Daniels and Professor
Doris Corbett.
Everybody's not, you can't tell me that people that didn't go to HBCUs have that type of experience. Professor Daniels asked me about my kid. You can't tell me that every other place can give you that. I'm just not gonna believe it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And with that being said, this is why I say all of this is divine, because there's no way that any of this happens without God.
Absolutely. Rael?
coming off of mute. I don't even know if I could talk without crying. That's just weird.
Yep, that's okay. Brooke.
So I'll try to make it quick. I know we're coming up on time. So I am a proud 4th generation HBCU graduate, starting with my great grandmother who was born in 1980. So HBCUs run deep in my family. FAMU taught me something very important. When I graduated from high school, I was one of 2 honor graduates. When I came to FAM, I was one of many. So FAMU taught me that I belong. And I think that's what a lot of Black men and women don't understand when they come from places where I came from, in the South. You belong. You are supposed to be here. You are worthy. And not only are you worthy, you are greater than most. So that's what FAMU was to me. This group, if I could describe it anything, it's like a Christ-like love. The love we have for each other cannot be broken. We've fought, we've loved, we've seen kids born, we've seen marriages come together. This family is a Christ-like love. We love each other with all our heart, with all our actions, and also with all our support. So when you think about this group, just think about Christ-like love.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, man.
And so I would echo everything that everybody said. I wanted to do this show specifically because if you're talking about HBCUs, you cannot have a complete and full conversation about HBCUs and HBCU experience unless you talk about the friendships that you create on campus. And so this group has seen, to Brooks's point, we've seen marriages, we've seen divorces, we've seen births, we've seen adoptions, we've seen losses of children, we've seen losses of parents, we've seen everything, highs and lows. And so we've seen, surgeries, health issues, anything that you can imagine, this group of people has seen. And we've seen it. We are time tested and true. And you can't pay for that type of friendship. And so I wanted to, I'm going to get emotional because you can't pay for that type of relationship. And I thank God every day that I made the decision to go to Florida A&M. And I'm much more grateful that he aligned me with this group of phenomenal men and women, because, people say a lot that women can't be friends. We may fuss and fight. I've never really had like a for real fight. We have disagreements for sure, but there's no disagreement that we've had that we weren't able to overcome. And I know I'm a lot. And so if these folks can love Monica in spite of the lot that I am, I'm not, listen, y'all don't have to, I don't know how y'all get rid of this friendship. It's hook and crook. I'm just, this is it. So I am extremely thankful that you all took an hour or a little bit over an hour of your Saturday to come on this show. This was a godsend. It's no coincidence that this show happened on FAMU's homecoming day.
Amen.
So let me mess up something right quick.
Go ahead.
So I was just thinking about this. This group is so tight that we can get together. The guys, whether they went to FAM or they married in, can go one place. The girls, whether they married in or they went to FAM, can go another place, and everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's okay.
That's true. And to Pam is on. Hey, Pam. And Pam is Sanja's older sister. Hey. And to Pam's point, this group goes beyond just us, right? So some of us have siblings. We have
Jamie. Shout out to Jamie.
Her sister and brothers, Bobby. All of us have siblings, and they are an extension of this group. So Erica can come in, and Alan can come in. Alan came on campus when he was in high school and was kicking it with Bobby. I'm like, dude, you 16. What is you doing? so Alan and Keisha supposed to go on this. What was it, like a hood
ghetto world? It was a ghetto world tour.
We were going on a ghetto world tour. We were hitting all the projects in America.
So this group goes beyond just us. Ms. B welcomed us to. The stories go on and on and on. And I'm just so thankful that that for you all, for your spouses, for your families, for the love that you all extend to each other, to us, individually and collectively. This is a blessing. I am forever grateful. And I'm done. I don't have nothing else to say.
So Ray, you have something you want to share before I close this out?
Chuck,
Chuck
go ahead.
had
Go ahead.
First thing I want to say is, yes, I am a part of this group. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for letting Keisha hang out with us. You know what I'm saying? And but no, but in all seriousness, I was listening to this show and I'm looking at it from the outside, just on this little bit. They can hear me. I don't need to see. You know, from the outside looking in, I had a funeral and I was on the way back. So like, as soon as I got in the car, I got on. And so I was listening. And first of all, I just want to say how proud of all of y'all that I am, just like in everything that you do. And just what Monica was saying, how this group permeates into other stuff. I keep my game stepped up because I'm with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And because of it's because of what FAMU did for y'all that it does permeate throughout our whole families. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I look at y'all and I'm like, man, I ain't coming in that half stepping. I'm not gonna do it. You know, but it's not an envious competition. You know what I'm saying? It's a loving and healthy competition where everybody tries to stay up. And I just want to say I'm proud of y'all, man. Love y'all. And this it reminds me that we ain't had a Zoom in a while, so we need to get that together. Bobby, set that up and let's get that going. Love y'all.
I just want to close this out by saying, for all of you who have joined the call, whether it's Charlotte, Shanja, Marvis, and Chrissy, if you're out there,
Travis,
if you're out there listening to us, so we want to thank all of you guys for tuning in, all of the family members and spouses for tuning in. I appreciate how you guys have welcomed me into the group as well. But thank you guys so much for joining our show. We did have one listener, Dante, who said that this show should be the promotion video for why kids should go to HBCUs. And I can't think of any more, not just a compliment, but really just kind of a confirmation of why we do what we do. So so thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all. We love you. Hang on, after we close out, I think Monica wants to chat with everybody. So
love y'all. Thank y'all.
And thank y'all for tuning in, and be blessed. And we see you guys next week.
See you next Saturday.
Wherever we go, we about to bring on the positive vibe. Wherever we go, we are gonna do.